Hey there everybody and welcome back. For those of you that are looking to build a social or sharing website and you don't want to learn any coding, stay tuned. I'm going to be walking through the basics and sharing the source code for this exact website in today's video. Now before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out the channel for new content. All right, so jumping straight in, this is a very basic sample app. So the idea here is you would type in a couple random letters. Basically, this is just a simple coffee post. So this would be one of multiple pages. So I'll just upload a picture here. So we have a bunch of letters. We have our image. We click upload. And then when we scroll down, typically after a second or two, the new image will appear here. So we have our new image, we have the letters and everything else, and you can see we have several others as we're scrolling. So that's the basic page, and the page before it is the login page. Now this is a page I made in a previous video, so you can check that out if you have any questions or want to learn more about building this page here, but I share the source code for all of this. So now that we've done a quick demo, let's jump into how to actually get the code. So if you go over to codelessfix.com, I'll probably be changing the website up a bit here and there, but you can go to the coded apps section. Once you're here, there's a source code library. You can select this. This is not the most visually appealing page, but I did build it with ChatGPT, just trying to find a way to get source code to people where you don't have to download files. I know a lot of people are hesitant to do that. So you can scroll through. This is source code for the majority of the apps on the previous page. So when you're on this page here, you can see some of these videos are going to be uploaded shortly, but basically you'll be able to see how to do different things on this page. And when you get the source code, it'll be for the relevant video. And all you need to get the source code is click copy to clipboard. So in a couple of cases, there are multiple chunks or files that you're going to need. For example, this page that we worked on in a previous video is this login page here. You'll see you need multiple pages. Whereas the page that we are going to be working on today, so if you're scrolling through, you'll see there's an instant messenger app. If you're interested, you can take a look at that. But as you scroll through, there is this single page here, social/sharing site. So we can click copy to clipboard. You'll see we get that confirmation. And now what we're going to do is open up Notepad++ and paste in this code. Now this will look very intimidating at first, especially if you don't know code, but I'm going to walk you through. You really don't need to know the majority of it. So the main thing that you need to actually change if you want to get this to work for you specifically is as you're scrolling through, you would basically just replace anything relevant to my Firebase account or coffee or anything like that. So for example, the heading of the page is right here and it's Coffee Connect. You would change that to whatever it is that you want it to be. So that would be, if we were on our website, that would be the text up here. So you can typically do something simple like Control F, and anything that you would find on this page, you would find over here, and you would just find out what it is that you need to replace. Now, next up, the primary piece to get this working, because if you save this right now, it won't work, and that's because you need this portion here filled out. So if you want to fill this out, I have done this in another video, but I'll do a really quick overview. You will need a Firebase account, so you can go to firebase.google.com. And then when you sign up, it's a free account. You can go into Project Overview, Project Settings. So you will need to enable real-time database, storage, and authentication. I would recommend Firestore database as well, just to be safe. But basically what this is doing is the authentication is where the user data will be stored, like usernames, emails, etc. Storage and real-time database is going to be where the data is stored. So if we go to the real-time database, you'll see this is where the post details are stored. For example, the one that we just posted is this one right here. So you have the brand, coffee name, image, roast, and the image is actually a link, if I'm not mistaken, to where it is stored in storage. So if we go to storage, there's a coffee images folder, and then all of the coffee images here. So then you would basically see, okay, this is the one that I uploaded recently. So going back to our project overview, we go to project settings to get this information here. And you can go down and you'll see a Your Apps section. You can click Add App, you can choose the web app here. You'll name it and click register. And when you get to this add Firebase SDK option, it will give you some data that looks like this. This will be somewhat obvious, but you just copy and paste the relevant pieces of information to the relevant places. So API key to API key, auth domain to auth domain, and you would basically just repeat the process. Now, one thing to note is it's not 100% in order. You'll notice database URL, for example, is missing. So you just have to make sure that you're copying the relevant information over. And also another thing to note as we're going through this, I do not cover security in this video. That's something that you need to manage on your end. So make sure that you're managing security and data in accordance with any and all laws, rules, guidelines, etc. So the last thing that we need here is our app ID. So we will copy this and make sure each of these stay within double quotes. And app ID is right here. So the next part is the critical part, which is naming the file. So when you have your account set up online, for example, this page here, it's just called page2.html. The home page of codelessfix.app currently, although I'll probably change it, is just index.html. So a lot of websites work kind of like file explorers. You start out with index.html. If you click a button like this, it's going to navigate to page2.html. So if we scroll through in this page here, which is basically identical code to this page on the left-hand side, if we were to hit Control F and type in page 2, and then you can click Find Next. Now, you may need to find different variations of this and see if you can find just the text page, and then that will show you if there is a link or reference to page2.html or whatever it is that that button is supposed to be doing. Now, in this case, this is the information for page 2. So what we can do is we can go to our index page. So I'm going to go to new, and this I've made this in a previous video, but it's just important to show you to help with the learning process. So this is the sign up page. So this would be the equivalent of this page here. So you'll see when we are loading this page, we have submit, password, all these values that are pretty straightforward as far as what they actually are. And the idea here is this page is going to be loading a bunch of different forms and information. So you'll see we have our style CSS page that we're referencing. We also have our container with the login details and quite a bit of information. Now, you may notice that there's not a lot of logic. For example, on this page, if I were to type in and find page, it's also not present. And the reason for this is, if we go back, the login page is somewhat complex, so it uses a JavaScript file, a CSS file, page 2, which is just whatever page after login, and then index.html. So in this case, if we were to open up a new document, and just for learning purposes here, if we were to decide, you know what, I want to open up the app.js file. This is what contains all of the Firebase information and quite a bit of other information. And the critical part is redirect to page 2. The reason I'm taking so much time to highlight this here is if you want to make the app that we are about to finish up and you want to make it more complex, think about having this page here, and you can make it more visually appealing by adding in more information. But imagine having 20 of these. This could be page 2, then the next page could be something completely different, and it could be page 3. So you could have this set up as a very complex series of forums. And all you would really need to do is copy the code for this page, make a couple of changes to the code so that it's not posting everything to the same area of Firebase, and then name each page and have a link to each of them on your home page. And this is where you would basically say, okay, reference to whatever the actual next page is. So enough about that. Again, that's something for another time. So what we're going to do now is close these windows. So at this point, ideally, you have updated pretty much everything in your Firebase account, and you've added in all this information here. So we have this page set up. You have all of your information as you're scrolling through, API keys, etc. Now, I would recommend starting off with the defaults like this coffee stuff, just because if you start changing all the details before you get it set up in Firebase, it'll be hard to follow. So what we're going to do to start right now is click Save As. You can save it to your computer as whatever.html for now. So we'll save it, and if I get to the desktop quickly enough, usually you'll see it pop up within a second. So we have our page here, and it looks identical to the previous page because it's the exact same code connecting to the exact same database. So if you wanted to test it, you could click in the box, type in some letters, choose an image, which in this case is just going to be, we'll just choose the Codeless Fix logo. We'll click Upload, scroll down, and here it is. So everything's working as expected, and as you can see, you can get this code yourself. Now, if you want to start changing things up, it's not terribly difficult. I have other videos on how to host this online, so I'm not going to go into incredible detail here. But basically, if you wanted to host everything we have up until this point online, it's very simple. We have the index, which is our sign-in page. We have the style, which is for the sign-in page to give it the colors. We have our app.js, which has all of the, basically the Firebase details for the sign-in page. And then we have page 2, which is the page that we're currently working on. Now, I saved this one to the desktop just to show you how easy it is to take the source code from the library, make a couple changes, and get it set up for yourself. But page 2 is technically this page. Their code is identical. So the idea is once you've signed in, you access page 2, and that's the coffee page. Now, if you want to make changes to this, a couple of things to note. You can go and track down everything that's happening in Firebase. So if you go to Firebase, real-time database, you'll see that everything is being stored in coffee items. So if you go to this page over here and you hit Control F and you type in coffee items and you hit Find Next, you'll see we have this one and then we have another one down here. So if we were to click Count, you'll see we have 4 matches. So what we can test out really quickly is we'll take coffee items and we'll replace it with something else. The idea is if you wanted to have this stored in your database under something completely different. So we'll call this one for the YouTube. And the idea here is we're just going to cut this. So we're going to hit Control H. Control H is find and replace. So we're going to type in coffee items, and we're going to replace it with for the YouTube. We'll click Replace All, and you'll see 4 occurrences were replaced. So now this part's been replaced, but what we need to do next is make sure that we are also replacing everything in the storage section, because that's actually where everything is being stored. So now we're going to hit Control F and we're going to see coffee images. We're going to count and we have 1 match. So we'll just call this one YouTube storage. And we're going to just cut the text, Control H. So again, we're just going to coffee images. Paste in YouTube storage, replace all, which is just 1. And then if it helps you at all, for example, in cases like this, sometimes you may want to have some additional pieces changed. So I would hit Control F and type in the text coffee and go through the document and just see, okay, what's actually visible? So for example, if we go to the actual application that we're working with, so we'll open up this page 2. And as we're scrolling down, you'll see recent coffee items. So if we wanted to change that text, you can find the text. For example, we would find recent, and we would say, whoa, it changed. And you can call this whatever you want to. And you can just replace whatever on this page would actually be relevant. So if we wanted to change the text brand, which appears right here, then we would find, and then you'll see get form values. So we would need to basically replace all of the notes of brand, which is 9. So we'll replace brand with brand 2, just so we can kind of test what this looks like. So we'll hit Control H, paste in brand, replace with brand 2. We'll replace all. And then we'll find roast. So roast, and we will replace it with roast 2. Replace all. And then I think we'll just leave that. That'll get rid of most of the coffee references on this page. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to click Save, because we are still saving to this HTML file on our desktop. So we'll close these pages. We will open up page 2, or actually, I apologize, the new page that we're working on. And now you'll see that in this case, let's just make sure we have the right file. So this is the correct file. So you'll see down here we have the text, whoa, it changed, and there are no images beneath it. Now we have coffee name that we probably want to change, so let's look for the text name. And you'll see this one we probably want to change. So let's see. We're going to count this one because we have 10. So we're going to type in coffee one more time and count the occurrences. So this one you would want to be very careful with. So if we type in coffee name, this bit of text is what we would want to change. This is the label in the upload coffee item. So we would call this hey, and we'll just put an exclamation point. And then we'll go to save. Now we'll refresh this page and you'll see this item has changed. So you can change coffee connect to this is the test. And this is the easiest way to basically learn HTML. You would go through, you'll make your change, refresh the page on this side, and you can watch the elements basically change in real time. And then when you're ready, you can upload it online. So the last thing is we need to find the text coffee item. And we'll go here and say upload some stuff. We will click close, save, refresh. So everything's set, but the most critical part is making sure that it uploads. So we'll type in hey, hey1, hey2, choose an image, choose our computer, and click upload. Now, in the event that you experience any issues, you can right-click your page and click inspect. Now, in this case, everything worked, so it just took a second, probably because it was a higher resolution image, but everything uploaded. But if you have issues, you can right-click, click inspect, and open something called DevTools. You can go to your console and look through here, and often what will happen is you'll see errors if you have any issues. Now, if you're using ChatGPT, you can actually paste in the errors that you're getting. So I want to take a moment in this video to go through how I finalized this app. I started out by asking ChatGPT for a landing page for this website. And then I made a note of, I want users to have a couple of input fields for their coffee name, brand, and roast, and then upload a file to Firebase. It gave me some code, and then I took the code and said, make this more visually appealing. And then it came up with this code here, which is basically what you're going to be getting, and kind of finished it up for me. Now, the previous chat that I had with ChatGPT was a little bit lengthier, so I went ahead and deleted that one. But the general idea was I had to go through some troubleshooting where when I was originally posting, it was using the wrong version of... I'll see if I can find it on this file here. It was using the wrong version of this Firebase app.js. So there were a couple of issues with this script that had to be replaced, and then a couple of other errors that I had to go through. But at this point, you can see that all of the text within a couple of minutes related to coffee was completely replaced. So you can make this app yours. You can go through, add in more text. If you want, you can upload a different image. So we'll upload this one. We'll click upload. We'll scroll down, and you'll see now we have the Codeless Fix logo. So that's really all that there is to this website. And what I was getting at before was, now that we've done this, This could be page 3. And you can link between pages very, very easily. So if you wanted to make this more complex, you can check out another video that I am going to be uploading shortly, where I'm just going to show how to reference or link between pages. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment box below, and I'll see you all in the next video.